Rasmussen reports. If it's in the news, it's in our polls. And we transparently tell you the truth, not what narrative spinmeisters and three-letter agencies say is the propaganda du jour. Take transgenderism, for instance. If you Google transgenderism polling, you're actually going to find results, but the headlines are going to be things like Americans' complex views on gender identity, or deep partisan division over transgender rights, and perhaps mixed views among Americans on transgender issues. These organizations like Pew, NPR, and Gallup are tripping over themselves to avoid the lead, which is that Americans are largely against transgenderism, especially where minors are concerned. But before we get into the questions, let me take a moment to ask you to follow us on Twitter if you're watching there, or subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We think it's important to have an independent, honest, and accurate public opinion firm fighting mainstream narratives, and we hope you agree. Some states have recently passed legislation making it illegal to give hormone replacement therapy to minors. Do you approve or disapprove of such laws? 52% of U.S. likely voters support these laws, 39% strongly, and 37% disapprove of them, though only 25% strongly disapprove. So note here that a majority of voters do support these laws which would ban hormone replacement therapy, a key component of the regimen used for gender affirmation of minors. Now, there are a couple of reasons why these numbers would otherwise be higher. First, we didn't ask if voters supported the practice, but if they supported laws banning the practice. American voters generally don't like the idea of restricting any kind of freedom. We also didn't explicitly spell out that these laws targeted HRT for sex change purposes. Nonetheless, majorities of every major demographic except black voters, Democrats, liberals, and strangely, voters over 65 approve of these laws. Here are the party numbers. First, this gives you a pretty tangible bit of evidence that this question was a little confusing to people, but more on that later. Republicans like these laws considerably, as do independents, but to a little bit lesser extent. And Democrats are, I guess, what I would call here relatively opposed. I'm pretty sure you couldn't call this deep partisan division, however. Do you want to see something crazy? Here are the numbers for age, and 18 to 39-year-olds are most in favor of these laws, and least not sure. Now, we probably likely have two conflicting signals here. The fact that transgenderism is largely a trend among younger Americans, while also the fact that the 18 to 39-year-old demographic likely contains many fledgling families. As I said before, though, the over 65 crew is least in favor of these laws. But look at that not sure number. That's the reason. Once again, for the biggest divide, we go to Biden approval. 50% of Biden's strongest supporters disapprove of these laws, and 69% of those who strongly disapprove of Biden support them. Now, I often say that Biden job approval drives the biggest partisan divide anywhere in all of our crosstabs, but these numbers really aren't as far apart as I expected, showing that a voter's stance on gender ideology isn't exactly lockstep with conservatism or liberalism. 36% of Biden's strongest supporters approve of these laws, and 24% of those who strongly disapprove of Biden disapprove of the laws. Let's ask a much less muddled question. Some states have recently passed legislation making it illegal to perform sex change surgery on minors. Do you approve or disapprove of such laws? 58% of U.S. likely voters approve, 46% strongly, and 34% disapprove, 21% strongly. This is a pretty clear win for the states with these bans, but to be honest, I thought the numbers would be a little farther apart. Now, it's largely Democrats driving this signal, but they're split 45% to 45%. Though strongly approve beats strongly disapprove among Democrats 30 to 25%. 72% of Republicans are for these laws, as are 61% of independents. But again, I wouldn't even remotely call these a deep partisan divide, with only Democrats being split. And 24% of Republicans and 30% of independents actually oppose the laws. But here's age. Again, surprisingly, it isn't really a young people thing, or at least the 30 to 39-year-olds are offsetting the 18 to 29-year-olds. Voters also aren't that far apart by race, although black voters are more in opposition to the laws, and Hispanic voters are least in opposition. This seems like one of those things that's a luxury belief, and indeed those with higher incomes and graduate degrees were most liberal on this, but not really by that much. But again, here's Biden approval. As expected, those who strongly approve of Biden are also most likely to oppose laws banning minors from going under the knife for sex change surgery. And those who strongly disapprove of Biden are almost unilaterally in favor of the bans, except for that 16% who strongly oppose them. I honestly don't know who those people are. Probably not fierce libertarians, but maybe. I guess one takeaway is that hating Biden could just be a very large tent. So there you have it. American voters support laws banning hormone replacement therapy and sex change surgery for minors. Though probably not in numbers large enough to pass these laws in any blue states, keep in mind, a lot of people are framing this as a civil rights issue, and that's a tough hill to climb for American public opinion. Thanks for watching.